Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be filming an art journal with me video, so let's get started. So the very first thing I did was took a dark red color and just ran it across my page and squished it together to evenly distribute the paint. Then I took some water and sprayed this so it'd be a little bit easier to move around. And then I took a 1-inch flat brush and began to distribute the paint. Now for today's layout I wanted to do an ombre effect. And you can see that I didn't put quite enough paint here, so I'm going over with a second coat of paint, just with the same process, adding paint, a little bit of water, and then I'm going to distribute the paint. Now I'm going to take a slightly lighter shade of red and apply that just beneath where I applied this color. I'm using the exact same technique of applying water before moving the paint around. This just helps it to move around a little more easily. Now since this page is going to be fall themed, I wanted to stick with fall colors, so it's reds, oranges, and yellows. So now I'm taking a medium to dark orange and applying that just underneath the red and blending that down into where the next color is going to be placed. Now I'm just cleaning off my brush and taking a light orange and applying that just underneath where I applied the previous color. Since I applied quite a bit of that orange, I didn't need to spray any water, which is why I skipped that step. Now after cleaning my brush, I'm taking the yellow and applying that at the very bottom of the page. And I applied quite a bit of that yellow so I wouldn't have to do a second coat. And there's an easy ombre effect. I gave my page a quick dry and then I took a distress ink in a medium brown color. And directly using the ink pad directly on the page, I created a border just to give it a more worn and aged look. This also helps to draw the viewer's eye to the very center of the page. Now I'm taking this leaf foam stamp and some white house paint to add a border around the page. I'm using this house paint because I had it left over and I wanted to kind of get rid of it. Plus it leaves a really nice relief effect underneath other paints and other mediums. Another thing to note is when I'm stamping these leaves, I like to give it a turn every once in a while to make sure it's not stamped the exact same way every time. This just gives it a more natural and organic feel. It's also a good idea to have some of the stamps going off the page. This just adds a little more variety and interest to your background. I've given that a quick dry, and now I'm taking a pencil and sketching in where I want my quote. It's always a good idea to start off quotes in pencil first. That way if you make a mistake, you can go ahead and erase it. As you can see, I went ahead and erased my entire quote because I didn't really like the way I laid it out. A good tip here is to pick 1 or 2 words to emphasize and start with those. You can fill in the rest of the quote after you have those 2 emphasized words. For my quote, I emphasized the word fall first, and then I went back up to the beginning of my quote and emphasized don't. And then I filled in the rest of my quote. And my quote is, "Don't be afraid to fall," which fits in perfectly with the fall theme. And you can go ahead and add embellishments in pencil as well. That way you can see what it's going to look like before you go ahead and ink it in. Now I'm taking my brown big brush marker and I'm going to ink in all of my quote. Take your time with this part. You only have one chance to get it right. I made a little mistake right here and connected the two words together, but since this is a non-porous surface, I went ahead and wiped off that little connection right there. Now I'm just going to ink in the little embellishments that I was talking about earlier. Here's some freehand embellishments. I'm just going to heat set this really quickly. As I'm heat setting, I'm also going to take my eraser and erase any visible pencil lines. Now I'm taking a white gel pen and going to add a little bit of a highlight to each letter and each little embellishment. This way it adds a little more dimension to the letters, and it helps the quote stand out from the page a little bit more. Another thing this helps to do is to tie in the white on the leaves to the quote on the page. Now I'm taking my big brush marker again, and I'm going to go around the outside of the page and smear around the ink. This again helps to give a more worn and vintage look to the page. This also helps to tie in the color of the text to the color of the background. And since you're working on a non-porous surface because of the paint, the ink will smear around easily because it is non-porous. Here, I just took some black archival ink and a date stamp and stamped it at the bottom of the page. Now I'm just removing my page protectors and the page is finished. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. I had a lot of fun making this for you, and I hope you like and subscribe for more videos. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!